from Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego, our first of a three-game weekend series featuring your Milwaukee Brewers in the National League Western Division's first-place San Diego Padres. And welcome to Qualcomm Stadium for the first time this year. Matt Vasgersian, Bill Shroeder. Seems a little unusual. Here we are middle August, and the Brewers making their first appearance in San Diego against a very good division-leading Padre club out west. This is, unfortunately, two teams going in different directions. The Brewers in the midst of a really troubling road trip. San Diego Padres coming off a series win versus Atlanta. This team is playing very well.
Well, San Diego with a 15-game lead in the National League West over the San Francisco Giants. They do just about everything very well. The Brewers, on the other hand, in this 7-game road trip have scored only 13 runs. They've been shut out 3 times. They have to figure out a way to score some runs in this series. The Brewer offense has really put a lot of pressure on the Brewer pitching staff.
And when the Brewers started to struggle in the month of May, it was against this San Diego team that some of those struggles were really brought into focus. A couple of very lopsided losses in their one and only series meeting this year at County Stadium. As far as the pitchers here tonight in the first of 3 from San Diego, Sterling Hitchcock, the left-hander, gets the nod for the Padres and for the Brewers. A kid who was born and raised right here in San Diego, Brewer left-hander Scott Carl.
And Scott Carl, not a bad guy to have on that mound. The most veteran of all the guys in the starting rotation. He won his last start. As a matter of fact, he got the only win on this road trip so far. Hopefully he's going to be able to keep the ball down. Sterling Hitchcock throwing the ball very well. He came out of the bullpen, is starting now. He's the only left-hander in that starting rotation. He's won his last 2 starts.
If you're going to find a chink in the armor of Bruce Bochy's Padres, it may be that they struggle against left-handed starters, and that is exclusively what the Brewers will be throwing at them in this series, starting with Scott Carl tonight. Glad to have you with us on this Friday from San Diego. Do stay with us. Starting lineups in the opening pitch. Brewers at Padres right after this. Opened in 1967 as Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, now referred to as Qualcomm Stadium, home of the San Diego Padres and the fall and winter home of the NFL San Diego Chargers. It is indeed Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. Welcome to it. Matt Vasgersian, Bill Shroeder, producer-director Wade Rowland, and a cast of thousands tonight on hand for yet another Major League Baseball Beanie Baby night. This is the way Phil Garner aligns the Brewers this evening. It'll be Fernando Vina, as per usual, atop the leadoff card at second base. Mark Loretta celebrating his 27th birthday today. Happy birthday, Mark. His shortstop batting number 2. Jeff Cirillo in the midst of an outstanding road trip at third base, bats third. In the cleanup spot, right fielder Jeremy Burnitz. Darren Jackson will make the start in left field and bat in the 5-hole tonight. First baseman Brian Banks, who's played well since coming up from AAA Louisville, gets the start tonight at first once again in bats number 6. Center fielder Marquise Grissom. Catcher Mike Matheny and pitcher Scott Carl, a San Diego native, will round out the lineup for the Brewers tonight.
Well, the San Diego Padres can lay some pretty good leather on you. Tied for the lead in the National League in fielding percentage at .895. Check that, 985. It's easy for me to say. Vaughn, Finley, and Rivera in the outfield. Caminiti, Gomez, Julio Veras, and ex-Angel Wally Joyner at first. Behind the plate, Jim Leyritz, and on the mound, left-hander Sterling Hitchcock.
Sterling Hitchcock making his 20th start of the year, and this is 32nd appearance of the season. He's 6-4 with a 4.17 ERA. He's currently in the rotation as the number 4 guy. When the Padres get to the postseason, and it's a foregone conclusion that that will be the case, one of the things they've got to discuss when you talk about pitching coach Dave Stewart, manager Bruce Bochy, is if in fact they'll use 4 men in that starting rotation in the postseason. Should that be the case, Hitchcock will get a chance to pitch in the fall. Paul Nauert calling balls and strikes tonight. Angel Hernandez, Bill Hahn, and Greg Bonin in the infield, first to third. And the first pitch of the night from left-hander Sterling Hitchcock is in for a strike. See the numbers on Fernando Vina. He's done a nice job on the road trip. 9 for 24 in 3 games versus the Reds in Cincinnati, and the recently completed 4-game swing in Houston.
Now, Sterling Hitchcock, a left-hander that's not going to overpower anybody. Good fastball. He's got a breaking ball and a very good split-fingered fastball. There you see his career against the Brewers. 5-1, 3.81 in 9 games. He used to be with the Seattle Mariners of the American League. If he's got that split-fingered fastball working, he's able to get ahead in the count. He is very tough.
Counts a ball and 2 strikes on Fernando Vina. Sterling Hitchcock actually started his career with the Yankees. He was a 9th-round selection in June of '89. He went to Seattle in that big Tino Martinez trade in 1995. A swing and a miss, strike 3 by Vigna. And Hitchcock starts his start tonight with a strikeout.
Well, the strikeouts to walk ratio for Hitchcock, very good. 106 strikeouts, only 33 walks. That's about 3-to-1. That's exactly where you want to be. Not going to see Fernando swing and miss that often.
Hitchcock's been very consistent all year with a strikeout ratio, tied for 9th in the National League. There's Mark Loretta now with 1 away. Hitchcock came to San Diego from Seattle in December of 1996. This is his 2nd year in a Padre uniform in exchange for right-hander Scott Sanders. San Diego needing a left-hander. Seattle after a right-handed pitcher. Since that deal, Sanders has switched uniforms a couple of more times while Hitchcock has remained here in San Diego.
Well, and Scott Sanders now back here in San Diego, so the guy that traded for Sterling Hitchcock, the Padres were able to get him back.
Ball and 2 strikes on Mark Loretta now. Loretta, like Vigna, like Jeff Cirillo on deck, has been doing a nice job on the trip. Mark's 8 for 26 in Cincinnati and Houston. Bouncing ball to shortstop. Chris Gomez to his left. Throws in time to get Loretta for round number 2.
Well, we've talked about many times on this road trip the good job that 1 through 3 has done in this order. Between Vigna, Loretta, and Cirillo, they've been on base 36 times in the 7 games. Unfortunately, only able to score 8 runs. So they've been on. They just need somebody to drive them in.
2 gone for Cirillo now. Jeff's hit in his last 6. He took an 0-for in day 1 of the road trip last Friday at Cincinnati, and has hit in each game of this trip since. We mentioned how it's something of a foregone conclusion that the San Diego Padres will go to the postseason this year. 78-43, 15 games up on the Giants, 17 up on the Dodgers. Colorado and Arizona aren't even on the map. And at 36 games over 500 this year, it is the first time ever that the Padres have been that fat over the 500 mark in franchise history.
And they do a lot of their damage right here at Qualcomm Park. 30 games over 500, 44-14.
Smashed at third. Caminiti is there forward. 1 third baseman retires the other. And it's a 1-2-3 first by Sterling Hitchcock. Half inning of baseball gone in San Diego. Brewers 0. Padres coming to bat. Brewers go away in order in the top of the 1st inning, and it's time for Scott Carl to make his 25th start of the season here in his hometown of San Diego, California. He faces a Padre lineup that shapes up this way for Bruce Bochy, manager of the year in the National League back in 1996. Bochy starts it tonight with second baseman Kilvio Veras. He's been hot atop the lineup card for the Padres. Steve Finley in center field to get the start, despite the fact that he's facing a left-hander tonight. Greg Vaughn, the former Brewer, in left bats number 3. Ken Caminiti, Wally Joyner, and Jim Leyritz 4 through 6. Ruben Rivera, Chris Gomez, and Sterling Hitchcock round out the lineup against Scott Carl.
Well, a couple of changes behind Scotty tonight. Darren Jackson out in left field with the left-hander on the mound for the Padres, and Brian Banks getting his 2nd start of the season at first base.
Kilvio Veras offers at the first pitch, grounds to Loretta, 1 away. Here are the numbers on Scotty, 9-6, trying to become the Brewers' first 10-game winner of the year. Steve Woodard's had a couple of opportunities to turn over the double digits in wins, has not been able to do so. Scotty tied for the club lead in wins with 9, along with Steve Woodard. He leads the Brewers staff with 144 and a 3rd innings pitched this year, and is excited to make this start tonight. As we mentioned, he is a San Diego native, went to nearby Carlsbad High School. He's got about 80 friends and family in the ballpark tonight, and has not had a chance to pitch here in his hometown since his sophomore year at college, when his University of Hawaii team came out here to play San Diego State.
Well, a lot of times when a pitcher, particularly a pitcher who doesn't rely on an overpowering fastball when he's all charged up, wanting to impress family and friends. A lot of times that sinker from Scott Carl. It'll straighten out a little bit. We'll see how he handles it. Well, you got to relax. Really step back a little bit. Think about what you're doing. Don't get too charged up out there.
Finley grounds to second for Fernando Vina. Quickly 2 away for Scotty Carl.
On the other hand, if you're a guy that just blows the ball by hitters, that kind of anxiety, that kind of stuff is good for you. There you see the weather. It is absolutely gorgeous here in San Diego. Southern California's never felt so good after those 100-degree-plus temperatures in Houston.
Yeah.
82 degrees, a little bit of humidity. I would not say hot and humid.
Yeah, it's all relative, isn't it? We've been walking around all day in San Diego, and folks that live out here, ooh, can you believe the humidity? We're saying, come on, people, get out to Cincinnati and Houston for a couple of 3 days and then come back. Here's Greg Vaughn, and on the first pitch, he's aboard with a base hit back up the middle. 2-out single for the Padres.
Well, Greg Vaughn has been struggling somewhat. He does have the 39 home runs, but in his last 70-plus at-bats, has not been faring all that well. Greg Vaughn, Brewer fans know more than anybody how streaky Vaughn can get. With 2 outs and nobody on, that's not a bad thing. A base hit up the middle.
Here's Ken Caminiti now, whose franchise record for home runs is in jeopardy because of the guy at first base. Vaughn having the monster year, and there's nothing wrong with Caminiti's numbers here midway through the month of August.
Yeah, it's going to be a foregone conclusion that Greg Vaughn is going to break that record. 40 home runs, a franchise record for a single season for San Diego. Vaughn needing 1 more.
Caminiti grounds to third, and it eats up Cirillo. Everybody's going to be safe.
Well,
Jeff took a tough pop, indeed, and that's going to be scored as a base hit.
Yeah, nothing else you can do as an official scorer. That ball was hit like a rocket, and Cirillo wasn't able to handle the hop. Well, first 2 outs, not much of a problem for Scott Carl, but since then, a couple of well-hit balls by San Diego. Tried to get the cutter inside. Got too much at home plate, and Caminiti hit it pretty hard.
There's Wally Joyner now. Did you see your old teammate on the field before the game today?
Yeah, he shaved all his hair off.
What's that all about?
I don't know. I didn't get a chance to ask him. Got locked up in a conversation with an old coach of mine, Davey Garcia, Brewers ex-third base coach. Then he was gone. He took off in the clubhouse. Maybe to give that scalp a bit of a shave. That's not too bad, is it? 429 with runners in scoring position.
Next pitch home to Joyner's fouled away. Wally Joyner, Ken Caminiti, Steve Finley, the addition of Jim Leyritz, Greg Vaughn. It is very much a veteran flair on this team. Some of the pundits before the season even began said the Padres might have trouble this year should 1 or 2 of those guys go down with injury, and that's always possible when you're talking about veteran players. The Padres aren't deep enough in the minor league system where they'll be able to replace those guys and still remain as competitive. Well, it hasn't been an issue, because none of these guys have really missed significant time. Caminiti spent a little time on the DL this year, and that's when these 2 teams last met one another. Of course, they're without Tony Gwynn, who was placed on the disabled list today because of the strained left Achilles, but this team just has not missed a beat.
No. You don't mind having a guy miss 2 weeks when you're 15 games in first place. Have the luxury of putting Gwynn, give him a couple of weeks off. I would imagine if Gwynn, with that Achilles heel problem that he's had, if these San Diego Padres were in a battle for first place, he'd probably be out there. First place teams very rarely have significant injuries. I guess you could say the only ball club that you can say that's had a lot of injuries and still is just doing the number on everybody else are the Yankees.
One ball and 2 strikes on Wally Joyner. The exception of a brief stop in Kansas City, Wally Joyner's played his entire career here in Southern California. Of course, he started back in 1986 with the then California Angels. Comebacker over Carl. He slowed it down. Vina gloves it, but nobody's going to have a play. just got it over Scotty Carl, and at that point it was trouble for the Brewers. That's going to load the bases.
Well, Scott mistimed the leap. He thought he was hit a little bit harder than it actually was. Right off the end of the bat. Pulled the string on Wally Joyner, and Wally just did get a piece of it. Watch Carl. He's going to be on his way down by the time that ball comes up off the end of the glove, and Fernando doesn't have a play at second base. Well, 2 quick outs, and all of a sudden 3 consecutive singles. Scott finds himself in a jam.
Bases loaded, 2 away now for Jim Leyritz. The clean-shaven model of Jim Leyritz at the plate. When last we saw Leyritz, it was last year in the American League as he finished up the season with the Texas Rangers. He has since switched uniforms a couple of times. The Padres thrilled to be able to get him.
Good veteran catcher behind the plate. Very good throwing arm. Handles pitchers very well.
Leyritz came over to the Padres on the 21st of June from Boston, along with a couple of right-handed pitchers and a catcher. The most notable of those players, Carlos Reyes, the former Oakland A's starter. Wasn't happy in Boston. Wasn't getting a lot of playing time. He's managed his way into this lineup, either at catcher or at first base. Leyritz can do it just about everything for you.
And he's bounced around quite a bit since his time with the Yankees. Heroics in the World Series a few years ago. Always going to be room for a guy that can catch, though. A guy that can catch and hit. Jim Leyritz can do both.
Scott Carl trying to work out of an early jam. The bases are loaded, 2 away. Bottom of the first inning from San Diego tonight. Carl in front of Leyritz, 1-2 from the stretch. There's a drive into the corner and foul. Everybody in action tonight in Major League Baseball on this Friday night. We'll have an ongoing check of the scoreboard for you, and we'll take a complete look at all the action a little later on this evening. Glad to have you with us tonight on MSC. Another bouncer over the mound, and again trouble into no man's land. Nobody has a play. To throw to third base, not in time to try and get Caminiti taking the corner. Vaughn scores on an infield single, and it's 1-0 San Diego.
Well, 3 straight consecutive infield hits by the San Diego Padres, and they're on the board. Caminiti hit one off of Cirillo's glove, then a couple of high choppers over Carl's head. Like bad luck for Scotty Carl and the Brewers here in the first inning. They're not hitting the ball all that hard, but they're putting it in a pretty good spot.
Four straight 2-out hits, and now it's Ruben Rivera. Rivera's been able to get some steadier playing time of late. You see the numbers: 246, 4 home runs, and 21 RBI. It is a very tough outfield to crack here in San Diego, and has been for the past couple of seasons. When you go left to right, Vaughn, Finley, Gwynn, there's no place for anybody else.
Well, Ruben Rivera is going to get some playing time, while Tony Gwynn's on the disabled list. He's a five-tool player, this guy, Ruben Rivera. Good arm, good speed, power. Yeah, pretty good glove out there in right field.
Pretty good line against the Brewers in limited plate appearances. 1-2 on Rivera. Fans may recall that Ruben Rivera was the key guy when the Padres decided to give up the rights to Hideki Irabu and let the Yankees get their meat hooks into him. The one guy they wanted out of the Yankees farm system was Rivera. After a long negotiation process, they finally got their man. The Yankees called him an untouchable for a long time. Of course, his big brother Mariano, a big part of their success at the Bronx.
Can you imagine his Padre club with Hideki Irabu on the starting pitching staff?
That's pretty scary.
Yeah, that would be something else, wouldn't it? He didn't want to come here.
Little pop-up. Vina back out there for it, and that'll retire the side. Padres load the bases and settle with only one against Scott Carlin, the first to the second in San Diego. 1-0 Padres.
Tune in to MSC for a replay of the Tom Lehman Dayton's Golf Challenge. MSC brings you exclusive coverage of this event with all your favorite PGA players. Catch all the action Monday night at 8:30 right here on MSC, your ultimate sports connection.
Jeremy Burnitz leads off the Brewers second. Burnitz, Jackson, and Banks for the Brewers against Sterling Hitchcock. 1-0 San Diego through one. Padres loaded the bases against Scott Carlin, the bottom of the first with 2 away. And on an infield single managed a run. Bernie 4 for 22 on the road trip. Got a hold of 3 booming doubles in the Astrodome that if the Brewers been playing somewhere else might have been 3 booming home runs. There's a ground ball to first for Wally Joyner. 1 away.
Yeah, Burnitz hit a couple of deep fly balls to center field off the wall. Only 400 in the Astrodome, but ball didn't carry very well there. Made good contact on that ground ball, but hit it to a guy that has one of the best gloves at first base in the league, Wally Joyner.
One gone, nobody aboard now for Darren Jackson. Darren Jackson with some fond memories of San Diego. He was a Padre between '89 and '92. Had arguably his best major league season here in San Diego. There's a fly ball into the corner and Ryan Rivera on the run. Some foul territory here, and he makes the catch.
Well, Phil Garner trying to do anything he can to get some runs on the board for the Brewers, trying Darren Jackson out in left. Keeping Mark Newfield on the bench, who ordinarily starts in left field against left-handed pitching. Newfield not swinging the bat well. Why not try Darren Jackson?
Here's Brian Banks now. You can see 3 for 12 since coming up from AAA Louisville. He got a hold of that big pinch hit home run in Houston on Monday. Major League home run number 3 in the young career of Brian Banks.
You talk about trying to put guys in the lineup that are swinging the bat. Brian Banks saw 2 pitches in Houston and got 2 base hits.
Bounced out to Caminiti. Throw to first base is in time. 6 up and 6 down against Sterling Hitchcock tonight. Played 1.5 in San Diego. 1-0 San Diego.
Kids Saturday, August 22nd is Lay's Pick and Save Lunch Bag Night. See the Brewers take on the Padres, and the first 12,000 kids 14 and under receive a Brewers insulated lunch bag. Compliments of Lay's potato chips and Pick and Save.
Chris Gomez leads off the bottom of the second for the Padres and bounces one off the track and over the gap, quite literally. Stand-up double, ground rule style for Chris Gomez.
Gomez put a charge into that one. Not ordinarily a guy that's going to hurt you too much with the bat. He's out there for the glove. Well, Scotty got a pitch up in the strike zone. He went right with it. Hit that one pretty well to right center. See that pitch a little bit above the belt? That's where Gomez can hurt you, up in the strike zone. One hop over the fence.
Double number 23 for Chris Gomez, quietly having a pretty good year. Sterling Hitchcock to batter now. Corners will come in for the Brewers with nobody out and Gomez at second. Hitchcock lays down the bunt and pushes it foul. Now, one of the things that people have talked about in regards to trying to improve the Padres, and it's something that they certainly investigated prior to the trading deadline, was getting some help at shortstop. Yes, they like Chris Gomez. He's a productive player. He's a good player. But I think what the Padres were after at that position was an all-star. They had some dialogue with Cincinnati in regards to all-star Barry Larkin. The Reds' asking price was too steep. And they are happy with Gomez at this point. Hitchcock gets a bunt down. Carl's got just one play. That's with Vina covering first.
Sterling Hitchcock able to execute the bunt. He just was right on top of him, and he deadened that ball very well right in front of Scotty Carl. Cirillo vacates third base. The only play to first.
Back to the top of the order, and the guy they call Q, Kilvio Veras. He bounced down to Loretta to start the bottom of the first. Infield in tight for the Brewers. One away, a runner at third. 1-0 San Diego early in this one tonight.
Anytime you have the infield in, cutting down the run in the second inning, only down by 1 run, that means one thing: your offense isn't doing anything. Bill Garner thinks he's got to cut down every possible scoring opportunity for San Diego. You get too far behind, the way the offense has been swinging the bats, you really don't have much of a chance. Ordinarily, if you're going through a normal stretch in the season when you're scoring maybe 4 or 5 runs, the infield will be back, maybe cut down the big inning.
Really similar to the situations last night. The Brewers opting to intentionally walk Craig Biggio not once but twice. Veras with a fly ball into left center. Grissom calling for it. Tagging up at third is Gomez. Throw home, not in time, and it's 2-0 Padres.
Well, Scott Carl was ever able to get a ground ball. That's when he wanted to get it. He goes with the palm ball a little bit up in the strike zone. Veras gets it deep enough to Grissom. Able to score Chris Gomez, who has average speed, you would say. Slides in with a hand.
So 2-0 San Diego. Now it's Steve Finley. Finley has struggled against left-handed pitching this year, but he's out there getting the start tonight. Part of that is due to the injury to Tony Gwynn. But as a club, one of the few faults you're going to find here in San Diego is that they have struggled against left-handed pitching. That's because guys like Finley, Joyner, Gwynn, switch hitter Ken Caminiti, they do a lot of their damage from the left side of the plate. Left-handed starters can help to try and neutralize that.
Well, hopefully that's going to be the situation, because the Brewers are throwing 3 consecutive left-handed starters at the Padres this weekend. That's the good news. Hopefully the offense will be able to get going. Get a couple of wins out here in San Diego.
That one comes in and gets Finley on the small of the back. Breaking ball got him. It's not going to do any damage. Hit batsman, and a runner aboard with 2 away.
Well, that's the last thing Scott Carl wanted to do with 2 outs. You don't hit a guy that not only has been struggling but is left-handed. That looked like the palm ball, one of the rare palm balls that you'll see Scott throw to a left-handed hitter, but now you've got to deal with Greg Vaughn.
Vaughn singled and scored in the first. His single was the first of 4 straight. Finley will run. He stole a 9 on the year. Big swing and a miss from Vaughn.
Greg Vaughn always has been a very good fastball hitter, but right there, that's where you got to pitch, Greg. In on his hands, up in the strike zone. Has a tough time catching up to that one. Get that pitch out over the plate. He's going to hit it hard, though. The book on Greg Vaughn, any Brewer fan will tell you, is very hard and very soft. He's very good on medium speed pitches, the sliders, fastballs, mid-80s, upper 80s. Be careful with those pitches.
One ball and 1 strike on Greg Vaughn. Ken Caminiti waiting on deck for San Diego.
Well, if anybody knows that, it's these 2 guys. Mike Matheny and Scott Carl. They know how to pitch to him. It's just a matter of making the pitches and putting them where you want them.
Carl from the stretch with Finley aboard, and it's 2 balls and a strike on Vaughn. You just get through the likes of Biggio, Bagwell, Alou, and Berry. and you come to San Diego for Finley, Vaughn, Caminiti, Joyner and company. And it doesn't get too much easier. It is truly a pick your poison between the Astros and the Padres.
Yeah, two very, very good ball clubs.
Vaughn lines into right. That's going to dump in front of Burnitz. Finley to second. And again, trouble with 2 away for the Padres.
Greg Vaughn has become a very good hitter this year, and a lot of people will tell you it's because of the influence that Tony Gwynn has had on him. Talking to some of the folks around the batting cage, they say Vaughn's going to right field a lot more this year with power. 2-1 pitch a couple of years ago. That's a ball that normally Greg Vaughn's going to try and pull, not now.
I think they got to get a new recording of All Along the Watchtower. Throw that record out.
Don't like that, huh?
It's a little bassy for my taste. I can barely hear you. What were you saying?
Nothing.
Here's Caminiti now. Runners at first and second with 2 away. Yeah, you mentioned Tony Gwynn. That much I did hear. And we mentioned how he's on the disabled list currently. It didn't stop him from hitting off the tee for about 45 minutes prior to this game. I was amazed to see that.
Yeah, it just goes on the disabled list yesterday, and far be it from Tony Gwynn to take a day off, huh? Now, that's perfect evidence that he's really not all that bad. San Diego just giving him an opportunity to get that injury well and get him ready for the playoffs.
That's a good move, no question. 1-1 to Caminiti. He's way out in front. Well, the Padre people will tell you, you're looking at a guy who is a perennial batting title winner, and he's taking early BP on the final day of the season.
Good pound ball that time. Yeah, Tony Gwynn 95 hits away from 3,000. Won't get it this year.
Ball and 2 strikes on Caminiti. Fouled into the third deck quite possibly. Wow. Into the bad football seats. Speaking of football, that is the reason for tomorrow's day off. Brewers and Padres will play 2 on Sunday to accommodate the NFL's Chargers tomorrow. Two balls and 2 strikes on Ken Caminiti. Switch hitter in from the right side against Scott Carl. Scotty trying to get out of trouble here. He's got runners aboard. Wally Joyner due up next. Still 2-2 on Caminiti. One score to post for you. Cubs and Astros in action at the Astrodome, and Chicago's on top 6-4. Sammy Sosa's without a home run, but he's driven in a run. 3 for 4 is Sosa so far. And a big swing and a miss by Caminiti. Snaps the bat. What the Bo Jackson is going on out there? Following suit, a long line of bat snappers dating back to Jackson, Chili Davis et al. And Ken Caminiti puts his name in the hat. He gets ornery. Ouch.
MSC delivers A-League soccer action this weekend with the Minnesota Thunder. Tune in as they take on the El Paso Patriots coming tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock on MSC. Your ultimate sports connection.
Marquise Grissom leads off the third for the Brewers. Grissom, Matheny, and Carl, bottom third of the order, looking for their first base runner tonight against Sterling Hitchcock, are the Brewers. It won't come here. Good play by Ken Caminiti. Had to deal with a rough hop and then get a quick throw across the first, 1 away.
Yeah, Ken Caminiti leads all National League third baseman in errors with 19, but he made a nice play on that ball. It looked like it had some funny spin on it. Watch the hop that he had to deal with. Kind of went to his right. Good strong throw by Caminiti.
Here's Mike Matheny now batting with one away, nobody on. Mike 2 for 14 on the road trip so far. Padres on top of the Brewers 2-zip. Padres have certainly had opportunities for more. Yes, they've scored 2 early runs, but they've also stranded 5 base runners. That's the good news if you're a Brewers fan.
When you take a look at the statistics, particularly the numbers offensively for the Brewers and the Padres, the team batting average is just about the same. Padres have a little bit more power. Padres don't steal as many bases as do the Brewers, but the big difference in these two ball clubs is the pitching and the defense. We mentioned the defense for the Padres tied for first with the Braves in fielding percentage at .985. They've got outstanding pitching. Sterling Hitchcock, one of the guys that have been responsible for a team earned run average that's 4th in the American League with pitches like that, right on the outside corner.
And a swing and a miss, strike 3 by Matheny. That's 2 strikeouts for Hitchcock tonight. Sterling Hitchcock earned his first win of the year against the Brewers. It's on the 4th of May up at County Stadium. Brewers lost the first 2 games of that series, rather lopsided scores. They were country routs, if you want to get right down to it. And then they were able to win the final game of the series, an afternoon game. Took a 2-1 lead to the top of the 9th, you might recall, before Tony Gwynn took Doug Jones deep to tie it. The Brewers were able to win it in the bottom half. Well, this is the first meeting between these two clubs here in San Diego. Scott Carl sprays a ground ball to Caminiti. And indeed, Sterling Hitchcock is perfect through 3. 9 up, 9 down against the Brewers. Middle of the 3rd, 2-0 Padres.
Well, it's Bank One Family Day, Sunday, August 23rd, as the Brewers take on the Padres. Bring the whole family out to the ballpark for just $23. You receive 4 upper grandstand tickets, 4 sodas and 4 hot dogs, but tickets must be purchased in advance by calling 933-9000.
Well, all right then.
Easy number to remember.
You bet. Middle half of the 3rd. Heading to the bottom half of the 3rd, it'll be Joyner, Leyritz, and Rivera here against Scott Carl. Well, as has been the case for the entire road trip, my friend, lots of folks from Wisconsin here in San Diego to watch the Brewers do battle on the West Coast. We've been followed around nicely to San Diego, or to Cincinnati rather, then to Houston. A lot of fans here on the West Coast to watch this one. Walter Huth of Milwaukee. I know I got that name wrong. Tom Kruger of Brown Deer. Bob Lehman of Lisbon, town of Lisbon. Dick Lutzke of Menominee Falls. Dick Wesley of Greenfield. And Craig Zaffron of New Berlin. Wanted to say hi to all their pals watching back in Wisconsin tonight. Now, these guys are pretty serious. They go on these big-time road trips, and they have sent us a list of all the Brewer road trips they've been on. Joyner hits a pop-up into short left center. Loretta gets back there to make a nice play, 1 away.
That was a nice play by Mark Loretta. He went back to medium range left center field. That's Marco back there, never takes his eye off the baseball and able to make the catch.
Now, for these guys whose names we just mentioned, this is their first official visit to a National League city to see the Brewers play. They covered the American League pretty well between the years 1980 and 1997, and their overall record watching the Brewers on the road since 1980 is 11-22.
Not good. Not good.
Well, these guys are the problem. Keep these guys away from the team on the road.
You think that's it?
Sure. Nice to have them here, though.
Yeah.
That's fun stuff. 2 balls and no strikes on Jim Leyritz. Big swing and a miss.
And the Brewers Gold Club is here. Vice President of Ticket Sales Bob Voigt and his wife Annie are out here with Mike Harlan and Jeff Campion. Longtime Brewer supporter Paul Wong and his wife Peggy out here. That's a heck of a trip, huh, for the Gold Club, San Diego?
Yeah, it's great. They're going out to the yacht club tomorrow, you know.
I'm going.
Really?
Yeah, Bob Voigt promised to buy me dinner.
Really?
Yeah. Hey, look, we've been going for 11 days, right? Meal money's about spent. Good to see Bob Voigt in town.
Let's see where you're coming from. Right. You did seem awfully happy to see Bob today.
Yeah. Hey, Bob, change my mind. I'm going to make that dinner.
3 balls and 2 strikes on Jim Leyritz. Line back up the middle on a 3-2 pitch. A 1-out base hit for Leyritz. He's 2 for 2 tonight against Scotty Carl.
Right fielder, Ruben Rivera.
Well, there's never been any doubt about Jim Leyritz's ability to hit the baseball. It's just a matter of finding him a place to play. Played third base with the Yankees a lot. He was a catcher. He's turned into a pretty good defensive catcher along with being able to hit.
Here's Ruben Rivera now, runner at first base and 1 away.
Check out some of the folks on that Gold Club trip. I mentioned Paul and Peggy Wong, Jim and Patricia Greenway, Brad Mathiasen family, his wife Cindy, Rich and Jean Tennyson, Lisa and Kurt Weissman, Jerry Doris Veit, and Tim and Kay Veet. I think that's Veet.
Tim and Kay, we're going to have to keep them away from Tijuana.
Is that Beetle? Vettel. Beetle? Veet.
I don't know where you're looking. I don't know what you're doing. Oh, okay. Vite?
All right.
Well, we're glad to have him here. However they pronounce their last name. 2 balls and a strike on Rivera.
Good to be outside, isn't it?
Yeah, it is nice to be out of that dome. And I know that we talked about it in Houston. There are a number of Brewer players thrilled to be back on natural grass. 7 straight days on AstroTurf. That's no fun for anybody's knees. I don't care who you are. Lunging is Rivera, swinging a miss, 2-2.
Well, particularly when you got a bunch of guys like the Brewers do that have had knee problems in the past. Jeff Cirillo, John Jaha blew out a hamstring on that Astrodome turf out there. David Nilsson. And that stuff's tough on the joints. Legs get sore, the hip joints get sore, everything.
Late in his career, Andre Dawson claimed that playing for so long in Montreal on that artificial surface shaved between 3 and 5 years of productivity from his career. He may well have played for the same number of years, only they weren't as productive. Big swing and a miss by Rivera, strike 3. Second strikeout tonight for Scott Carl.
Well, good location on that off-speed pitch that time by Scott. He's been getting his pitches up a little bit. A little cutter down and in, and Rivera swings right over the top. Good location. We talked about being anxious and being a little bit hyped up with family and friends in the crowd. Hopefully Scotty's going to be able to settle down here.
2 gone now for the number 8 hitter, Chris Gomez. Gomez doubled and scored back in the second. 7 hits for the Padres tonight already, but only a 2-0 deficit for the Brewers. Again, Scott Carl's been able to strand 5 base runners so far tonight, looking to make it 6. Should he retire Gomez with Leyritz aboard. We mentioned the Chargers playing here tomorrow. That's why we have no baseball on a Saturday in August. These 2 teams will make that up with the doubleheader here on Sunday. We will be televised for game 1 of 2 from San Diego. That is rolled just foul.
Coming out here for that football game?
No.
Check out the new Chargers quarterback, Ryan Leaf, that big kid.
I am not.
Who are they playing?
I don't even know that. They're playing the Rams. team that used to play about an hour and a half north of here. I don't know. It's going to be probably about 80 degrees out. There's beaches, golf courses, waterfalls, movie stars, dancing girls. I'm not going to be here. I'll probably be in the hotel room watching TV, to be honest with you. Having some pizza. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Chris Gomez. You can really notice the fact that the football exhibition season has started here on the field. This ballpark, this playing surface, usually immaculate, usually in just tremendous shape. But you can see a lot of patches around the home plate cutout, a lot of patches around the pitcher's mound. Football really takes its toll.
Yeah, the first thing I noticed, the palm trees over the fences out here at Qualcomm are gone. Normally they have nice palm trees all around the outfield.
Gomez lines into the corner in right foul. Yeah, they had to remove those palm trees for tomorrow. So I guess that's quite a project. Those are all in large planters, if you will, and they have to get cranes on the field to move those things. It takes more than just a couple hours. Hopefully they'll have them back for Sunday's doubleheader. It really spruces up the place.
Yeah, it does.
Uh-oh, that one's hit pretty well. Jackson back. Good night now. Well, in a lineup that boasts the likes of Vaughn, Caminiti, Joyner, it is Chris Gomez's bat that has been the most damaging. A double, and now a 2-run home run, and that puts San Diego on top 4-zip.
Well, and you're talking about a guy that had only had 2 home runs coming in and only 27 RBIs, and Chris Gomez on his way to a pretty good night tonight. Well, you hate to give up a home run with 2 outs when you've got the pitcher waiting in the on-deck circle. That's definitely a mistake by Carl. A bad pitch and not a good time to make it.
Four runs on 8 hits early for San Diego. Now it's Sterling Hitchcock. Popped him up. Matheny calling for it, and that'll retire the Padres in the 3rd. Not before a couple of more runs can cross the plate on the Chris Gomez home run. Through 3, 4-0 San Diego.
MSC delivers the boxing powerhouses on Fight Night at the Forum. Tune in for an all-out battle coming tomorrow night at 7:30 on MSC, your ultimate sports connection.
Ugly start to this one tonight. 4-0 San Diego. The Brewers are still looking for their first base runner against Sterling Hitchcock. Vigna, Loretta, and Cirillo will try and chip away here in the 4th. Fernando Vigna was 2 for 2 against Sterling Hitchcock back on the 4th of May. There you see his line against the rest of the Padres staff. Everybody, he's 6 for 14. A ball and a strike on Fernando Vigna. Checking some other National League scores. This one just becoming final. St. Louis defeats Pittsburgh 10-5. And on a day that the Cardinals scored 10 runs, you might guess Mark McGwire had himself a home run or 2. Not the case. He didn't have a chance to swing the bat all night. McGwire walked 3 times this evening.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem for him the rest of the way. Going to be tough for McGwire, I think, at this point to break that record now. I think it's going to be tough for all of them to do it.
Do you?
Yeah. I'm going to change my mind. Of course, it's kind of hindsight a little bit. Both of those guys, McGwire and Sosa, have not been hitting home runs at the pace that they did early in the season, but no, it's going to be tough. Nobody's pitching to him. Greg Vaughn has only got 1 home run in his last few games.
Sammy Sosa, by the way, 3 for 4 as the Cubs defeat Houston 6-4. They finally break that Astro home winning streak, and Fernando Vina breaks up the perfect game bid by Sterling Hitchcock. Early 4th inning, and a leadoff single for Vina.
Well, hopefully the second time around the order is going to show the Brewers getting some better swings, starting to hit the ball hard, and get some runs on the board. Fernando continues his hot hitting against left-handed pitchers this year. Just driving it right up the middle, not trying to pull it. That's how you hit lefty against lefty. Pitch going away from him, and he shoots it right up the middle.
Here's Mark Loretta now, leadoff hitter aboard for the Brewers in the 4th. You know, we mentioned Mark Loretta celebrating his 27th birthday here tonight. Another birthday we were remiss in not posting yesterday, but it's not too late. We'd like to wish Assistant General Manager Fred Stanley a happy 50th.
Yep. Chicken 50 years old. Hard to believe.
It is.
Still looks good.
Sure.
Works out, keeps himself in good shape.
Still swings a golf club like a 65-year-old man. So happy birthday to Fred Stanley. Another notable occurrence in the Brewer front office. Scott Martins, Assistant Director of Scouting and Baseball Ops, became a father for the 2nd time on Wednesday. He and his wife Jody gave birth to their 2nd child. Congratulations to Scotty and Jody. Nothing in 1 on Mark Loretta. There's a base hit to left. Vina's going to head into third base. Finley gets to it. Throw to third, not in time, and Loretta takes 2nd on the play. Good aggressive base running for the Brewers, and they're in business with a couple of runners in scoring position and nobody out.
Well, you got to wonder about the decision by Steve Finley to make a throw to third. That allows Loretta to get to second base. Now the Brewers aren't in jeopardy of hitting into a double play. The second time around the order certainly has proven pretty good, at least for number 1 and 2 in the order. Of course, those guys have been hitting all season long. Like Fernando, very aggressive around third base. Got to do something to get something going. Fernando Vina trying his best to do that. When you're not scoring runs, you have to stay aggressive. You can't wait back.
Couple of runners aboard now for Cirillo with nobody out. Good situation for the Brewers to get right back in this ball game early. We showed you the graphic earlier about how Wally Joyner leads the National League in batting average with men on base. Jeff Cirillo 2nd. I still can't get over Joyner with that military look. Looks unusual. Isn't there a Marine Corps base here in San Diego? I believe there is.
There's got to be. All the cruisers and battleships have been cruising by the hotel. Amazing, isn't it?
It is. It sure is. See men in uniform everywhere you're going.
You're talking about massive aircraft carriers.
2 balls and no strikes on Cirillo.
They've got a Navy SEAL training base out here, don't they?
Do they really?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the name of the Marine Corps base that's out here. Camp Pendleton. Miramar's out here too, isn't it? Remember Miramar from Top Gun?
No.
You 2 clowns are going to Top Gun. Has since been moved to Phoenix, I'm told.
Have you seen those ships cruising by?
I didn't see a whole lot of anything this morning, I gotta tell you. No.
Okay.
Was it on TV?
Well, you were laughing when I was mentioning that. I was wondering if I was seeing things.
No.
Okay.
You were rather impressed by them. That's what I was.
Yeah.
3-1 home to Cirillo. Misses low, ball 4. And that'll juice him up. Sterling Hitchcock, after throwing perfect baseball for 3 innings, has now loaded the bases with nobody out. And we'll get our first look at Padre pitching coach Dave Stewart.
Now we mentioned number 1 through 3 in the order has been doing it not only just all season long, but certainly on this road trip. Vina, Loretta, and Cirillo now on base 39 times in 7+ games for a .362 batting average. Not included in all that is 10 walks, including that one to Cirillo. Well, hopefully those guys getting on is going to stir up the offense a little bit. Now it's up to the rest of the guys to drive him in.
That walk to Cirillo, by the way, his 68th of the year. That puts him in the top 10 in the National League, adding to his top 10 National League on base percentage as well. Here's Burnitz with a chance to clean him off. Last time Bernie was up there with the bases loaded, he hit a double that scored them all in Houston. Takes strike one from Hitchcock. Good slider down low. Vina, Loretta, and Cirillo aboard for the Brewers with nobody out. Golden opportunity here early, top of the fourth. Brewers down 4-0. Check swing foul. Now Burnitz behind 0-2. Well, Burnitz sitting on 90 runs batted in, 10th highest total in the National League. Chance for a bunch more here with one swing at the bat.
You certainly got to believe that Burnitz has a great shot at not only 100 RBIs, but a bunch more this year. It turned into a pretty good season for him.
Burnett's another San Diego guy. Nothing in 2 on Bernie. Got him swinging.
Well, that's certainly been the problem for the Brewers. Well, those guys get on base. You got to have some way, somehow make contact, put the ball in play. That's a pretty good pitch by Sterling Hitchcock. A little bit off the plate. And Jeremy chasing after he got ahead of him, 1 strike. That's a big strikeout. Now a double play will get the Padres out of the inning.
Well, here's Darren Jackson now. 1 away. Jackson has come through with the bases loaded this year. Hit a grand slam in St. Louis. Was that wild 13-10 Brewer win a number of weeks ago. From Hitchcock, misses outside, 2 balls and no strikes. With the bases loaded this year, Jackson is 1 for 4. And the one, as we mentioned, the big grand slam against the Cardinals to win the ball game for the Brewers. Brian Banks waiting on deck. Grounded is short. Gomez to Veras for 1. Back to first. They double him up. They load him in the 4th and get nothing. Middle of the 4th, 4-0 San Diego. Winner is Vicky Moore from Okauchee, Wisconsin. You've won an autographed baseball by Jeff Cirillo. For a chance to win an autographed ball, send a postcard with your name, address, and phone number to this address. We'll select a winner every MSC telecast in the MSC Brewers Have a Ball giveaway.
My Secret World by Tim Flannery.
Well, a big chance for the Brewers. Slipping away. They load the bases with nobody out in the top of the 4th and come away with nothing. And Scott Carl will take his 4-0 deficit back to the mound in the bottom of the 4th inning and go to work on the top of the Padre order. Veras, Finley, and Vaughn.
And that's exactly what we've been talking about, particularly on this road show, about putting the pressure on the pitching staff. When that stuff happens, and it's happened far too often in the last 6 weeks or so, well, every pitch that a guy makes out there, particularly Scott Carl, could cost him the ball game. And you got to give pitchers a little bit of room to breathe, a little margin for error. They just can't make perfect pitches all night long.
That last half inning in a nutshell really captures all the Brewers' offensive woes going back for a lot longer than just this road trip as well. We've been talking about it quite a bit. The fact that Vina, Cirillo, and Loretta have been doing a great job in setting the table. But when it comes down to finding somebody to get those guys home, the rest of the lineup just has not been able to answer the bell. Three and one on Kilvio-Veras.
You know, you'll see a lot of guys. There will be teams where three guys will be very hot all at the same time, but it's very hard to carry a ball club if all three of the guys that are hot don't have the ability to hit home runs. You got to have guys that are hot. They're going to drive runs in, hit doubles, hit the ball out of the ballpark. If you got three guys that can do that are hot, you're okay. But singles hitters can't carry a ball club.
First walk of the night by Scott Carl. Steve Finley, the batter now. Finley bounced out to second and was hit by a pitch. There was another final in the National League tonight. Cincinnati defeats Montreal 3-2. Gabe White over Steve Klein in the decision. Everybody else in the National League is in progress, including 3 games here on the West Coast. Up the road in Los Angeles, the Dodgers and Braves are scoreless. And up the road a little farther in San Francisco, the Marlins and Giants are scoreless. This game's just getting underway. Top of the 5th, New York on top of Arizona 3-2. Phillies lead Colorado 6-2. That one's in the 9th. Veras running on the pitch, and it's a good thing. That would have been an easy 4-6-3 double play ball. Instead, Vina gets the out at first base on Finley.
Yeah, Veras is one of the few guys on this Padre roster that will run. Veras and Steve Finley with most of the stolen bases on this ball club. Put him in motion, stay out of the double play. Well, only the Colorado Rockies have attempted less stolen bases than have the San Diego Padres. They rely on power. A lot of it from this guy.
Greg Vaughn and Ratu, a big night, couple of singles and a run scored so far in his first 2 at-bats. You mentioned the 39 home runs for Greg Vaughn. He's 1 away from that franchise record, Ken Caminiti's 40 a couple of years ago. This is currently Vaughn's 2nd highest total ever. When he left the Brewers halfway through the '96 season and came to San Diego, had a bunch with the Brewers in the American League at the time of the trade, got a bunch more with San Diego, and finished with a total of 41. That's a career high. Safe to say he's going to pass that. Pitch gets to the screen, and Veras gets to third.
This guy trying to keep the ball down in the strike zone, and from time to time you're going to put balls in the dirt. Mike unable to keep it in front of him. Now a fly ball will score a run. Tough pitch from Cathini to handle. Fastball down in the dirt. Toughest pitch for a catcher to block.
That'll change the nature of the at-bat now for Greg Vaughn. Fly ball can give him a run batted in tonight. 4-1 Padres, 4-0 Padres rather. Looking for more is Vaughn. There's a drive out to left center. That'll be more than enough to get that run home. Make it 5-0 San Diego.
Now we mentioned that the San Diego Padres and the Brewers came in with the same team batting average, but San Diego has been able to execute pretty much all night. The second sacrifice fly of the ball game, the other one off the bat of Kilvio-Veras in the 2nd inning. Get a man to third base, get him in. Greg Vaughn able to do it here. One of those cut fastballs Scotty left out over the plate.
Here's Caminiti now. Caminiti 1 for 2 so far tonight, the 1996 National League MVP. He's been a big second half performer for the Padres past couple of years. And this year really no exception. Last 40 games, he's got 11 of his 22 home runs. That's a sweet play by the ball girl there, huh?
Good athletes down here in Southern California, right? You live here.
And despite that, there are still good athletes here in Southern California.
And when you talk about switch hitters, Ken Caminiti is one of the guys that comes to mind as possessing good power from both sides of the plate. Most of his home runs come from the left side. And that's just because he faces more right-handed pitching.
See, I lived here. That's past tense. And there are good athletes here. And more so since my departure.
Percentage is up now, huh?
Very much so. 2-2 on Caminiti. Ken Caminiti in the second half last year hit .331 with 20 home runs and 55 of his runs batted in. That one's hit well to left center. Grissom gets back on it to put it away, and that'll retire the side in the fourth. Padres tack on another. They've scored in each of their 4 innings tonight. 5-0 San Diego.
MSC delivers the best of the best on the Fox Formula One auto racing trail. See racers from all over the world compete in the Hungarian Grand Prix in Budapest. So catch the power of Formula One racing coming up Sunday night at 7:30 on MSC, your ultimate sports connection.
Brian Banks leads off the 5th inning for the Brewers. Banks, Grissom, and Matheny here against Sterling Hitchcock. But all San Diego tonight so far, 5-0 Padres. Banks off the end of the bat, grounds to third. Caminiti's got it. 1 pitch, 1 out for Hitchcock in the 5th.
Center fielder, Marquise Grissom.
The Deshawn family, David, Kathleen, and Emily from Fond du Lac, are attending tonight's game from Wisconsin as a part of a vacation. They planned this trip in conjunction with this Brewer road trip. They wanted to say hello to friends and family back in Fond du Lac.
Fond du Lac, yeah. Never been up to Fond du Lac?
Was up there this winter.
Yeah. Winter tour?
Winter tour, winter caravan.
Fond du Lac, Appleton, Green Bay, Manitowoc. Good towns up there.
We hit them all.
Not far away.
We hit them all.
Yes, we did.
2 balls and a strike on Marquise Grissom.
Up to Rhinelander, Wausau.
Well,
Wausau?
that's right. You went up to Rhinelander.
Yeah. Good town. Anago. Went to the Meps factory in Anago. That was a big treat for me.
Oh,
big
did you?
fisherman that I am.
Yeah.
Showed us how to make all those spinner baits.
Is that a big plant up there?
Not really big. No, everything's handmade.
2-2 to Grissom is grounded past Gomez into left. A 1-out single for Marquise Grissom. Everything in the American League is a final, interestingly enough. No West Coast games in the American League tonight. And some very big crooked numbers all around the American League. This is one of those nights that when you look at the scores from the American League and the scores from the National League, you know exactly who's who.
Yeah. Well, there was only 3 games in the American League yesterday. Everybody rested. Coming out with a vengeance.
Boy, the bats were hot today, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Chicago smoked Seattle 14-2. Sit down, lady. David Weathers up in the Brewers bullpen. What is that all about? Get an usher down there to that lady. A ball and a strike to Matheny. But get a load of this. I'm going to count it up right here for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 double-digit scores in the American League tonight.
Yeah. That DH makes a difference.
It does. It does. You know, more so, and I think you probably agree with me on this statement, the strike zone is really a lot different in the National League than in the American League. And I think when you talk about time of game, so many people pin the time of game differential on the DH. I think it's got more to do with the strike zone.
Yeah, the DH and the strike zone. Strike zone a little bit smaller from what we've seen in the American League than in the National League, particularly with 2 strikes. I think more National League umpires are willing to ring hitters up than in the American League.
1-2 pitch to Mike Matheny, misses low.
And again, I don't think that that's just solely an American League, National League thing. That's umpire to umpire. You're going to see umpires in the American League with big strike zones, and you see umpires in the National League with small strike zones. It just goes from umpire to umpire.
Two to Matheny, lined into left. A base hit from Matheny. So back-to-back one-out singles by Grissom and Matheny, and now the Brewers will go to the bench. Club needs some offense, make no mistake. So Scott Carl's start here in his hometown will be done after just 4 innings. And he's removed here in favor of the pinch hitter, right-handed hitting Mark Newfield.
And the second time through this batting order, Sterling Hitchcock has had a rougher time, but he certainly was able to make his pitches when he needed to last inning, striking out Burnitz with the bases loaded and getting Darren Jackson to ground into an inning-ending double play. But had a shot at David Weathers up in the bullpen. He's going to probably pitch the next inning.
Hitchcock ready to go to work on the pinch hitter now. Phil Garner tabbed Mark Newfield to pinch hit in Houston in a situation where he had a couple of other right-handed swings available, namely John Jaha and Brian Banks. A couple of people were surprised to see Newfield chosen to pinch hit in that situation, especially with Brian Banks coming off of a home run in his last pinch hitting opportunity. But Newfield's been pretty consistent out there as a pinch hitter this year, and Phil Garner's showing a lot of faith in him.
Yeah, well, since Jesse Levis has been out for the season, Newfield has been his best pinch hitter, particularly from the right side of the plate. And you're really not sure about the availability of John Jaha. Jaha strained a hamstring in last night's game in Houston. Some talk about Johnny going on the disabled list. Team isn't really sure. They're going to have to make a move on Sunday to activate Rafael Roque for him to make his start.
Ball and 2 strikes on Mark Newfield, batting with runners at first and second and 1 away. Brewers in a 5-0 hole here in the 5th. Grounded to second. Veras to Gomez. Back to Joyner. Another double play ball kills the Brewers in the 5th. Midway through tonight's in San Diego, still 5-0 Padres.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Milwaukee Brewers and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Oh boy.
Any ships out there?
I can see one about to dock. Been a rough way to start this series here so far. The Brewers have had some opportunities to erase the 5-0 deficit in the 5th and in the 4th. Double play balls took that offense right out of their hands.
Boy, that's been the story just about all season long. 111 double plays the Brewers have grounded into, but Scott Carl really not having his best stuff. Houston has scored it. I should say San Diego has scored in every inning so far.
It seems like Houston's still out there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We're miles away from the Astrodome, but things have continued on the same sluggish pace as where we were in the Astrodome for the past 4 days. The Brewers very much in need of a win to turn their fortunes around on this road trip. Maybe the swinging Friars karma has something to do with it. Looks a lot like Dom DeLuise, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Wally Joyner leads things off here in the San Diego 5th. Joyner, Leyritz, and Rivera. New pitcher on the mound for the Brewers. Taking over for Scott Carl here in the 5th. It's right-hander David Weathers. Joyner's got a single tonight in 2 at-bats.
Well, David Weathers has been throwing the ball extremely well as a Milwaukee Brewer. He's 2-0 with a 1.19 earned run average since coming over from the Cincinnati Reds. Those numbers you just saw were combined numbers between the Reds and the Brewers, and a good pitch by Weathers, striking out Wally Joyner. No messing around by Weathers. Good hard fastball. David Weathers really not messing around since he's come over here. Throwing strikes, good slider. He's got almost a Chad Fox type slider that he's featured since coming over here. And a nice addition to that bullpen.
We've talked about the contributions of guys like Bronswell, Patrick, and Brad Woodall, but it'd really be remiss if you didn't include the work of David Weathers since coming over here from the Reds. It's a pretty nice waiver wire pickup. Jim Leyritz a batter now in front of Weathers, 2-0. We mentioned the pitching matchups in this series. Now the Brewers are offering all left-handers against the Padres. That's just the way it worked out. Certainly there was no intention on the Brewers' part to throw only left-handers at the Padres because they struggle a little more against southpaws. It has worked out nicely that way, however. Jim Leyritz is aboard a 1-out single to left.
Well, that pitch on the inside part of the plate, and Jim Leyritz able to hammer it down the line. He's a very good fastball hitter, likes to pull the baseball. And one of the most unorthodox batting stances in all of baseball. Stiff front leg, wiggles that bat around. Gets that bat moving, though.
Here's Ruben Rivera now, 1 out and a runner aboard. So with 3 left-handers going at the Padres, the question needed to be asked. You asked it about 4 hours ago, and you got an answer. Liz Krieger from the Brewers Media Relations Department got the information for you. When was the last time, my partner asked, that the Brewers threw all left-handers in a series?
Yeah, a long time ago.
And I think the reason you asked that is because you were on the field the last time it happened.
Yeah, 1987 was the last time the Brewers had thrown 3 straight left-handers in a 3-game series. 1987, June 22nd to the 24th at Boston. Teddy Higuera, Juan Nieves, and John Henry Johnson were the starting pitchers in that series. So it's been a while.
The balk called on pitcher David Weathers. He's not a big fan of the call, but Leyritz is awarded second base. And Phil Garner out to discuss it with home plate umpire Paul Nauer.
Well, Phil just wanted to make sure what exactly happened. He certainly is satisfied. Let's see what happens. Foot is on the rubber. There you see it. A little bit of an ankle buck. You can't make any move with your legs when that foot is on the rubber. Looks like David Weathers knew it.
Yeah. Two balls and a strike on Ruben Rivera now with 1 away and Leyritz at second base. So in the doubleheader on Sunday, the Brewers offer Rafael Roque, the left-hander who will be called back up from AAA Louisville in the first game, and Bill Pulsipher in game 2. That's a flip-flop. Originally they wanted Pulsipher in game 1, but they've decided to change it around. The Padres will counter with right-handers Kevin Brown and Joey Hamilton. Tough duty. Swing and a miss. Strike 3 by Rivera. Second strikeout of the inning for Weathers.
Oh, good breaking ball by Weathers. That's the second time that the Brewers have gotten Rivera on strikes. Matheny setting up on the outside corner. The slider goes down more than it goes across. And Rivera not able to make contact. But if you look back to the start of the season, opening day in Atlanta, the Brewers had 5 starters, 1 left-hander. That was Scott Carl. Currently, 4 left-handed starters and only 1 right-handed starter, and that's Steve Woodard.
Boy. And of those 5 guys, only one of them was around in that opening day rotation. And only 2 of them were on the opening day roster.
Things have changed quite a bit since April.
Chris Gomez has been a one-man wrecking crew tonight, and the Brewers want nothing more to do with him. With 2 away and the pitcher on deck, Phil Garner makes the decision to walk Gomez, and nobody's going to argue with this one.
Yeah, that might have been a good decision last time he batted. Batted with 2 outs, a man on, first base open. I'll check that. There was a man on first, but you still don't mind walking Gomez to pitch to the pitcher coming up. He went after him. Gomez hit a home run. You hate to do that with a pitcher waiting on deck.
Here is the pitcher, Sterling Hitchcock. He's 0 for 1 tonight. He laid down a sacrifice back in the 2nd. Hitchcock behind 0-2. Top of the order waiting on deck, and after the intentional walk, this is where Weathers wants to end the inning. Got him swinging. That'll do it for the Padres in the 5th inning. It's the first time they've been kept off the scoreboard all night at the end of 5-0 San Diego.
Well, it's time to check out the Tires Plus trivia question tonight. Name the only Major League player to play over 500 games at each of 5 positions. Talk about being versatile. Let's see, Tony Phillips played quite a few positions. 3rd base, 2nd base, outfield.
How about Mike Ivy? I don't think I got my Mike Ivy question there. If ever there was a time for a Mike Ivy question, it would be during this series, Wade. Fernando Vina leads things off here in the 6th inning. Vina, Loretta, and Cirillo, top of the order here in the 6th. 5 runs on 9 hits for the Padres. No runs on 4 hits for Milwaukee through 5 innings. You know, I'm reading through the Padres media guide this afternoon, and one thing strikes me as unusual, and granted, you're not talking about the longest of franchise histories. The Padres are certainly not the type of franchise with a history like the White Sox or the Reds. However, they've only got 1 retired number from this club. Everybody's got Jackie Robinson's number retired, number 42. But in 1997, they retired their first number, and there it is, number 35, worn by pitcher Randy Jones. First Padre to capture the National League Cy Young Award in 1976.
Left-hander.
Good career here.
Yes, he did.
Here's Mark Loretta now. But the media guide goes on to read, and I'll quote, also the number 6 worn by Steve Garvey is emblazoned on the outer outfield wall in right center at Qualcomm Stadium. A tribute to Garvey's 9th inning home run to beat the Cubs in Game 4 of the '84 NLCS. And in '84, it wasn't even called the NLCS; it was the playoffs back then. At any rate, I don't see that number 6 out there on that right center field wall. Could it be that they've taken it down in preparation for the Chargers game tomorrow?
In place of Kellen Winslow's number?
How would that affect the football game, I want to know?
I don't know. Maybe he's hanging on one of those palm trees.
Now, that could be. That could be. Loretta lines a 2-1 pitch to center. Finley over for it. Quickly 2 away.
Third baseman, Jeff Shroeder.
Jeff Cirillo, the batter now. 2 out, the base is empty. There's more bullpen action for the Brewers. Left-hander Valerio de los Santos is up and throwing on the side. The bullpen setup here is unusual. You noticed that as soon as we got to the ballpark, in that each bullpen is not on the same side of the field as its own dugout. They're on opposite sides.
There's a simple explanation for that. The managers would like to see if their guys are ready up in the bullpen. You really can't see the bullpen if it's on the same side of the field as your dugout. Make it easier. That's the way the Seattle Mariners used to do it at the Kingdome. Anaheim Angels did that when I was over there playing with the Angels.
Walking across enemy lines to get into the ball game. 0-2 on Cirillo. Base is empty, 2 out. Brewers down 5-zip. Top of the 6th inning. One of the things we'll be talking about a little later on tonight, and we'll tackle it more on Sunday, is the issue in front of the voters here in San Diego for a new baseball-only facility for these Padres. They want it closer to the water, and they want it to only hold baseball within its confines. Rather controversial issue.
Yep. They all are, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Has there ever been one that was built that wasn't controversial? Not lately, anyway. Baseball only.
That is certainly the new trend. Of course, the ownership group here in San Diego, the former ownership group in Baltimore, and everybody knows of the success the Orioles have had since getting out of Memorial Stadium in a baseball-only facility. They're trying to follow suit here.
Indians.
Yeah, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, Texas has had some good years.
Texas, Colorado. It's the wave of the future. Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes on Cirillo. He's battled back from 0-2, but takes a look at a called strike 3. Brewers go down in order in the 6th inning to the bottom of the 6th. 5-0 San Diego.
Named the only Major League player to play over 500 games at each of 5 positions. My guess was Tony Phillips. No, Pete Rose.
Yeah, we should have gotten that.
Yeah. All-time hits leader.
So the Brewers have indeed made another pitching change. The most recent call-up from AAA Louisville on his 2nd stint with the Major League club, left-hander Valerio de los Santos. His first offering to Kilvio Veras. Little fly ball into center. Grissom has a beat on it. Makes the catch, 1 away.
Well, since the time that De Los Santos was sent down to AAA, he had appeared in 5 games with the Louisville Redbirds. No record, 3.6 earned run average. They have 4 hits in 5 innings. Made his Major League debut on July 31st against the Diamondbacks and gave up 1 run on 2 hits.
Steve Finley, the batter, now with 1 away. Finley's 0 for 2 tonight. He was hit by a pitch back in the 2nd. Scott Carl around for 4 innings tonight. Scotty gave up the 5 runs on 8 hits. Dave Weathers worked the 5th inning. Allowed a hit and a walk. Struck out, all 3 outs he recorded. A couple of base runners sandwiched in between. 1-1 to Steve Finley. Valerio de los Santos made his major league debut back on the 31st of July against the Diamondbacks at County Stadium. He gave up 1 run and 2 hits over 2 1/3. And 1 run was a home run. Finley grounds to second for Vina, and there are 2 away here in the 6th. You remember who that home run was hit by that you just mentioned as well? Wait, before you look at it, I'm going to guess.
Okay.
I was reading something else, man. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Get off me. Long road trip. I'm ready to snap.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Greg Vaughn hits a high fly ball to left. And before I can bury myself any farther, the 6th inning comes to a close. De Los Santos gets him in order out of the bullpen. We head to the 7th, 5-0 San Diego. Let's take a look at our Miller Genuine Draft National League scoreboard. Cincinnati beat Montreal at Synergy Field tonight by a final of 3-2. Vladimir Guerrero with a home run in the loss for Montreal. Sammy Sosa was kept homerless, but Chicago's able to beat Houston and end the Astros' season-long winning streak at home. 6-4 Chicago, the final there. Mark McGwire was walked 3 times, none of them intentionally, as St. Louis defeats Pittsburgh 10-5 at Busch Stadium tonight. That one's now final. Philadelphia knocks off Colorado 6-2. Rockies continue to struggle. They're in the 5th inning up the road in Los Angeles. Atlanta leads the Dodgers 4-1. Dodgers starting to have problems here in middle August. 7th inning score. The Mets lead the Diamondbacks. It's 3-2 in Arizona. Finally, we check in on the Giants and Marlins in San Francisco on top big 7-zip.
Now the Dodgers currently 5 games behind the Chicago Cubs for that wild card chase. And that wild card keeps flip-flopping back and forth between the Mets and the Cubs. Cubs with a half-game lead over the Mets.
Jeremy Burnett's leading off the top of the 7th inning for the Brewers behind 0-2. Got him swinging.
Now there's that good split-fingered fastball that Sterling Hitchcock has had good control of all night long. Gets ahead with the fastball. Must be a Brewer fan, huh?
Exactly what I was thinking. Here's Darren Jackson now with 1 away. No, Darren Jackson was around here when the Padres made themselves real good, real quick, and then cleaned it out just as quickly. Remember, they had Gary Sheffield making what looked like a run at a National League Triple Crown. They had Fred McGriff over here. They had Tony Fernandez over here. They'd made themselves very good in the early 90s, then fire-sailed all those guys. Then through a number of trades, made themselves good again a couple of years ago, and that's currently where they're at.
Yeah, and very good right now. Not a whole lot of holes in this ball club. We talked about the good defense. The bullpen is probably the strength of this club, if you can believe it. There they are out there. Trevor Hoffman, Randy Myers. Two pretty good guys out in that bullpen.
All overseen by Stu. They called him Smoke when he was coming up with the Dodgers. Well, he has just been an unbelievable influence on this pitching staff here in San Diego.
Good mental approach, a lot of confidence, go after people, tenacity. And you see that bullpen, what they've done in their last 15 ball games. Look at the earned run average, 1.16 in their last 15 games with 6 saves and 2 wins. And they're even tougher here at Qualcomm.
Dave Stewart set the tone with these pitchers early. It's his first year back in uniform, and really got these guys going in spring training. Started when he fined 2 of his pitchers during spring training for chatting with rival hitters before a spring training game. Stu says don't talk to other guys on game day. Fine, you have friends all over the league. You can talk to them as much as you want, but on game day, keep it in your own clubhouse.
Yeah, when you're pitching, you better be focused very early. You just can't go up there at the start of the ball game and expect to be locked in. A lot of starting pitchers, they're really on their own program on the day that they're pitching. A lot of guys you can't even talk to. They're zoned in, have their routine. Stay away from them. Kind of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Brian Banks, a batter now, behind 0-1. You know, another thing Dave Stewart did during spring training, he brought in all of his World Series rings, 5 of them. Oakland, Toronto. Laid them out on the table next to the spread in the Padres spring training facility. And he said, until you guys get a few of these, shut up. This is what it's all about. And I know. And he knows.
Yeah, check him out. I don't think anybody's going to argue with him. You talk about, we mentioned a couple of games ago about some of the most intimidating pitchers in baseball. He was one of them.
No doubt. Sterling Hitchcock becoming one of them as he strikes out the side in order in the 7th. 7th inning stretch in San Diego, 5-0 Padres. A lot of big numbers in the American League tonight as we roll the Miller Genuine Draft National League, American League scoreboard rather. Charles Nagy just got bombed at home. Baltimore all over him, and a 15-3 win would ensue. Final score out of Toronto, Angels 7-5 winners. A lot of runs between the Red Sox and Twins, 25 of them by my count. Boston got one more, and they got a 13-12 win. Mike Stanley homered for the Red Sox. Detroit all over Oakland. Louis Gonzalez and Damian Easley homer for Detroit. Jason Giambi for the A's in the loss. Texas and New York, that one's the final. Todd Zeile and Mike Sims homer for Texas. Chuck Knobloch and Bernie Williams for the Yankees. Yankees staying red hot. And Chicago all over Seattle at Comiskey, 14-2 White Sox, the final score there. Seattle really starting to struggle in the American League West. Another double-digit score as Kansas City beats Tampa Bay 11-9. About the American League tonight, putting up some runs.
Yeah, Tampa Bay started out pretty well this year, but certainly have fallen off. How about Tampa Bay? 46-72 in the American League East. A mere 42.5 games behind the Yankees.
Are they mathematically eliminated yet? You laugh. They're getting close.
I know, pretty close, huh? Yeah. Let's see. They played 118 games. 119 now.
They're a half week away from being eliminated. Ouch. Right off the inside of Caminiti's left foot, left lower leg.
Well, for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays to win the East, they would have to win every one of their games, and the Yankees would have to lose every one of theirs.
So the magic number is 1.
1. Not to laugh. Didn't mean to laugh.
No, I mean it's the absurdity. It's the absurdity of the Yankees being so far over 500 at this point. Nice play by Brian Banks for round number 1.
Well, let's take a look at our Discover Card playback tonight. Right, Chris Gomez with a fastball and rode it out of here, and that gave the San Diego Padres a 3-1 lead. Our Discover Card playback. 8th hitter Chris Gomez having a big night.
Big night by Go-Go Gomez. 1 away for Wally Joyner. Remember the White Shadow, the television show, The White Shadow?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do.
The guy Gomez, they called him Go-Go.
Basketball coach, wasn't he?
No, Gomez was one of the players.
Yeah, I mean the White Shadow.
Yeah.
Was about a basketball coach.
Basketball coach in Chicago.
Yeah.
1-0 pitch home is grounded out to second base. Vina retires Joyner 4-3 for out number 2. Valerio de los Santos has retired all 5 Padres he's faced.
Catcher, number 13, Jim Leyritz.
Jim Leyritz a batter now. I came for the game, not for the beanie. Good for you.
They gave away a whale or something today, didn't they? A Beanie Baby whale? Was it a penguin or something? It was black and white, whatever it was.
Oh, really? It wasn't a baseball-related Beanie Baby?
I don't think it was batty.
They got to be fresh out of baddies by now. That Beanie Baby thing is taken off like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, I believe it. A whole slew of those things in my house.
I don't know how you put up with it. 0-2 on Jim Leyritz.
The dog gets a hold of him once in a while. Nothing but beans, no baby.
You've got nothing to do with that, right?
No, because I got to clean the beans up.
Feeding them to the dog under the table. Have another Beanie Baby. One and two on Leyritz. 2-2 to Jim Leyritz. Talked about how the Padres felt good about themselves acquiring Jim Leyritz from the Red Sox earlier this year. This is a primetime type of player. And I suspect they're going to feel even better about themselves having acquired Leyritz once the fall rolls around and they're in the postseason.
That's some big hits for the Yankees against the Braves in that World Series. And that's a money player, Jim Leyritz.
2-2. He checked his swing, but he's rung up by home plate umpire Paul Nauer. Certainly a bright point to tonight's the relief performance of Valerio de los Santos. Are those the whales that you talked about they were giving away earlier?
They didn't give those away. No, that's not the ones they gave away today.
I got to give you my golden book of the animal kingdom. 5-0 Padres as we go to the 8th. Grissom, Matheny, and then the pitcher spot for the Brewers.
And I have been told that they did give away Beanie Baby whales. So I don't know what was showing up on the screen there.
Okay, those weren't the ones then, huh? Somebody smuggled in their own.
Yeah, that
Beanie
was
Baby.
contraband.
Sterling Hitchcock's just been outstanding tonight. Every time the Brewers have gotten a little opportunity, and those came in the 4th and 5th. Bases loaded, nobody out in the 4th, runners aboard in the 5th. Hitchcock slammed the door.
There it is. That's a whale. Right? Orca? A killer whale? What do they call that?
That's appropriate, right? Orca lives right over here at SeaWorld in San Diego.
Yeah. That's what we should do tomorrow.
You know what? There is no chance, there ain't no way nobody from this traveling party is going to go to SeaWorld tomorrow.
Thinking about hitting Tijuana. Do you have any recommendations?
There is a vast dichotomy between Tijuana and the good, clean family fun of SeaWorld, my friend. Called strike 3 taken by Marquise Grissom, and that is 5 straight strikeouts posted by Sterling Hitchcock. New third baseman for the Padres. They've gone to Ed Giovanola in place of Ken Caminiti. Mike Matheny, the batter now. Are you really thinking about going down to Tijuana tomorrow?
I am. Yes, I am. Yep. Never been down there.
Let me give, if I've ever given you a piece of advice that I want you to listen to, it's this.
Okay.
Bring a can of Lysol and some bottled water. That's all I need to say. No, you'll have fun down there.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to spend a lot of time down there. Just kind of go down there. They got a train that takes you down there back and forth. Costs you a couple of bucks each way.
It's a way to do it.
Yeah. You don't have to mess around with a car or anything.
Right.
No, and I don't have any intention of drinking the water.
Okay, I wanted to make sure.
There might be water in what I drink, but I'm not going to drink straight water.
Okay. You play your cards right, you can walk out of there with some good old, you know, some nice leather goods and some blankets and stuff. 30, 40 bucks is all you'll have to part with. I know that Jimmy Powell will be a big fan of that. Pitch to Matheny, lined into right. Ruben Rivera's got a beat on it, and there are 2 away. 9 straight retired by Sterling Hitchcock. Chad Fox is up in the Brewer bullpen. We'll see Fox in the next inning because the Brewers send a pinch hitter up in the pitcher spot here with 2 away and nobody on in the 8th. Bobby Hughes will swing the bat off the bench. Hughes is 3 for 9 so far on the road trip. Came in as a defensive replacement last night in Houston. Not to make excuses, but tonight's performance has been sluggish at best. Are we seeing some of the effects of day 8 of this long road trip coming off a long night last night?
That may very well be. Brewers have had a tough schedule, not to say anything about the competition that they've had to deal with on this road trip. On paper, the easiest part of this trip has been Cincinnati. The Brewers lost 2 of 3 there. You go into Houston, you figure you've got a dogfight on your hands, as well as coming in here to San Diego. Not exactly if it's the travel, team being fatigued, or just the competition being so stiff. Talking about some very good ball clubs.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Of the last 6 outs recorded by Hitchcock, 5 of them have been strikeouts.
Well, let's take a look at our Hoover pickup of the game back in the 2nd inning. Scott Carl striking out Ken Caminiti, and here's where the pickup comes in. Somebody's got to pick up the bat. Our Hoover pickup of the game tonight. Got to be strong to do that, buddy.
You ever seen that done live and in person?
I think Chili Davis did that when he was with the California Angels, and I was on that ball club. Chili did that more than once.
Yeah, he sure did. Well, we go to the bottom of the 8th inning tonight. And a pitching change for the Brewers. On in place of Valerio de los Santos after a perfect 2 innings in relief. It's right-hander Chad Fox.
Well, there you see the numbers on Chad Fox. Phil Garner giving some of his guys a little bit of work. Day off tomorrow. You got to figure that the bullpen might be busy in the doubleheader on Sunday. Chad Fox, there you see his numbers: 15 walks, 53 strikeouts, and a little over 40 innings.
Fox will negotiate the bottom 3rd of the Padres order. Rivera Gomez and the pitcher spot. How about Sterling Hitchcock tonight?
Yeah, good job.
9 strikeouts for Hitchcock tonight. He's gone 8 very strong innings. Sterling Hitchcock has 1 complete game this year. With the 9 strikeouts, he has matched his season high. Struck out 9 during his only complete game of the season in a 5-1 win versus Anaheim in an interleague series game. Grounder to 3rd for Cirillo. 1 away.
Well, the key to the success of Sterling Hitchcock comes in that split-fingered fastball. You don't see many left-handed pitchers that throw that. One guy that comes to mind is Chuck Finley over with the Anaheim Angels. He's got a dandy. Well, Brewer fans, make plans now for the August 21st game against the Houston Astros. The first 10,000 adults receive a commemorative National League cap courtesy of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Call 933-9000 for tickets.
Here's Chris Gomez now. He's had a big night tonight. He was 2 for his first 2 with a home run before being intentionally walked in the 5th inning by David Weathers. Scott Carl for 4, David Weathers for 1. Valerio de los Santos, really, that's your Brewer highlight for the night.
Yeah.
Was de los Santos. He was perfect, retired all 6 batters he faced, and now it's Chad Fox in the 8th.
I've always heard a lot about de los Santos and his ability to throw that fastball, and he's able to come up with a slider, a breaking pitch perhaps. It's going to be tough.
Chad Fox picking up right where de los Santos left off. 2 quick outs, and he punches out Chris Gomez.
Fox's bread and butter is that slider, and when he puts it in that location, nobody's going to hit it. All now is adamant in ringing him up.
Sterling Hitchcock will have his 4th at-bat of the night, and we have seen opposing pitchers pull this off far too many times on the road trip. You know, when the opposing pitcher sees 3, certainly 4 at-bats, it means a very long night.
And the Brewers in jeopardy of getting shut out for the 4th time on this road trip. And 10th time overall, I believe it is.
Swing and a miss by Hitchcock, 2-2. In the 9th inning, the Brewers will have the top of the order to try and combat that. Vigna, Loretta, and Cirillo. Full count now, 3-2. Got it right, 4 shutouts on the road trip.
4 shutouts on the road trip. And it will be the 14th overall if they get shut out.
There's ball 4 to Hitchcock. The pitcher aboard on the 2-out walk. Top of the order, Kilvio Veras now.
No, it was right the first time. It will be the 10th time that the Brewers were shut out.
Okay.
That ranks 14th in the league. I was looking at the wrong chart.
I got you.
Not the first time I've done that.
No, it's been done in this booth by either you or I probably every couple of nights. Kilvio Veras now. Well hit to right. Burnett's back at the track, at the wall, and it's gone. Well, Chad Fox was touched up for a 3-run home run his last time out there. It came 2 appearances ago, checked that, in Houston, a 3-run shot by Sean Berry. And let's talk about where the power has come from tonight in the Padre lineup. Not Vaughn, not Caminiti, not Joyner, but Chris Gomez and Kilvio Veras.
Oh, that was a fastball, and Veras with his 4th home run on the season, and he got all of it. Boy, for a leadoff hitter, he takes a big swing and got all of that one.
Ironically, that's been a problem with Veras in the past. They wanted him to cut down on the swing. You're going to have a tough time convincing him he needs to cut down his swing when he has results like that. And that makes it 7-0 San Diego. Steve Finley now. And on 1-0, he pops up. Matheny from catcher. Side retired in the 8th. Padres tack on 2 more. We go to the 9th. 7-0 San Diego. Well, Bruce Bochy's Padres showing the Brewers why they've been in first place just about all season long in the National League Western Division. Vigna, Loretta, and Cirillo will try and combat the 5-0 deficit. Sterling Hitchcock's going to try and finish what he started tonight for the 2nd time this year. 7 runs on 10 hits. No errors by the Padres. No runs on 4 hits for the Brewers. Comebacker Hitchcock's got it. And the Brewers are down to their final 2 outs tonight.
Now check out that stat. This year, after 8 innings, 66-0. And check that out, since July 24th, 1996. 155 wins and no losses.
That is unbelievable.
That is unbelievable. That's 2 years.
Wow.
Over 2 full years. That's good coaching. That's good bullpen work. That's what that is. And timely hitting late in the ball game. Because you got to believe there are a couple of those games that they lost the lead or they were tied, able to win ball games.
Well, the San Diego Padres have had a late October drought, almost as long as the Brewers. The Brewers last reaching the big dance in '82. The Padres last getting there in '84. Ownership has made a commitment to winning this year. They go out and get themselves a Randy Myers after the trading deadline. A move that shocked many onlookers. Lined into the corner and right and slicing foul. Same kind of attitude in Houston. Both of these ball clubs feeling as though they have as good a chance to win this year as perhaps ever in franchise history, and perhaps at risk of strapping themselves financially in subsequent years. They've added payroll late to try and win the whole egg.
Well, it's more important now this year than ever for this team and all the teams that have big leads to keep winning. Home field advantage is something to talk about in baseball this year in the playoffs. The team with the best record in the National League and the American League will have home field advantage, and it'll depend a lot on who they play in the first round. So just because these teams, San Diego, Houston, Atlanta, have big leads does not mean that they can coast.
A one-out single by Mark Loretta, his second hit of the night, and now it's Jeff Cirillo.
You know, and I like that. I think that's great.
Yeah.
A lot of times the last week of the season, you see teams that have big leads just resting all their guys. You don't see the big boppers in the game. That's not good for the fans.
Well, that was an issue that Major League Baseball addressed. They saw that as a problem the past couple of postseasons, and they've addressed it. That won't be a problem anymore.
Yeah. I mean, nip and tuck. Houston, San Diego, Atlanta, all battling for the best record in the National League.
What's just as important down here in San Diego for the future of this franchise is their new ballot initiative, new stadium initiative rather, that is on the ballot, due for an October vote. And you better believe that more wins will translate into more success for these folks to get their new baseball-only stadium passed. And in an informal poll conducted just weeks ago, there seems to be favorable support for that new project. Going to be a costly one. It'll be sucked up by the taxpayers, but if the Padres can win this year, better believe there'll be some people jumping on that bandwagon.
Well, if the season ended right now, Atlanta would have the best record in the National League.
Cirillo lines out to right, well hit, but Ruben Rivera has a play, and there are two gone in the ninth.
Well, Atlanta with the best record in the National League would right now play the Chicago Cubs, who currently hold the wild card, and Houston would have to play San Diego.
Jeremy Burnett's for the Brewers with 2 away here in the ninth and a runner at first. Brewers on the short end of a 7-0 shutout tonight. And on the first pitch, a pop-up into center. Steve Finley's got it. And the Brewers have been shut out for the 4th time on the road trip. Well, nobody thought it was going to get any easier. An already difficult road trip. 1-6 in Cincinnati and Houston has officially gotten more difficult with this loss tonight here in San Diego. Padres win it going away 7-0. We'll be back with more right after this.